Hi. As Cheryl said, my name is Mike Pearson. I'm the Improving Workplace Culture Project Manager, but have been around in the Trust for nearly 20 years as a physiotherapist, and have been probably around most areas as part of my rotations over the years. Spent a lot of time in healthcare, the older person as well, for the last 10 years as well. Now, my role at the moment is looking at some of the past history from the Trust around bullying, harassment, racism and discrimination. And so what I'll do today is I'll just talk through a little bit about why we've got to where we've got to, a bit of the background, a bit about the Charter, and then the links that we've got between the bullying, harassment, racism, discrimination, aggression and violence and harassment work. Then we're going to hear a staff story from my colleague Keeba, and then I've got a bit of requests for a pledge from you, if that's okay. So, let's start. We're all aware that a couple of years ago we had our CQC inspection, and as part of that, they really flagged up issues with bullying across the organisation. It is something that was being reported in pockets, but perhaps not being listened to. We have a lot of staff who don't experience any bullying, but we do have some as well. As part of this work, and this is before I was in post, but there was lots of discussions with our BAME colleagues to find out about their experiences. We also had the big conversation a couple of years ago where people were able to log on and put their comments about what they felt needed to happen in the organisation, things from us wanting water coolers all the way through to cultural issues and beyond as well. And there were various staff forums, stakeholder events, and also looking at our staff survey data to see really what does that tell us about staff experience within the organisation. So our national staff survey data from last year, this is one of the questions which is, in the last 12 months, how many times have you personally experienced harassment, bullying or abuse at work from, and then either patient service users, so I put that as public, your managers or other colleagues. And as you can see, of the 7,839 people that responded last year, 27.8% of those said that they'd received abuse from the public, so that's patients, visitors, families, etc. 10% from their managers, or 20% from other colleagues. Now, those figures just show that there is an issue, because we would want all of those to be at zero, certainly from managers and from colleagues as well. So it's something that we really do need to work at, and something that we are going to be monitoring through the staff survey going forwards, and making sure that these figures are going in the right direction. We also have been speaking to our Freedom to Speak Up Guardians. They collect some data on when people come forward to them, and they report the themes every quarter. So although bullying and harassment is kind of their second highest, actually inappropriate attitudes and behaviours, so things we call incivility, they tend to be the top reported issue that they have. So as part of this work, we went around people and we said, well, what do you need to know? What's not working for you? So people have told us that we're not clear on our behavioural expectations. Managers lack the skills to tackle issues. Feedback is not given respectfully. Staff can become defensive when challenged. Concerns are not always listened to. Cliques are often too powerful to address bullying. Racism is not discussed. And there's a lack of trust. We don't address banter. Issues aren't nipped in the bud. There's limited psychological safety, and zero tolerance hasn't meant it. I don't know what people think in the room, whether you feel that these are fair points or not. See a few nods. I did have a wonderful conversation with Anita earlier, and who basically said she does not recognise this in her area, which is wonderful, and I'm really pleased that we've got areas where these things are perhaps not happening. So we're not saying this is in every aspect of the Trust, but it is across a fair, wide area. And obviously different people will have different experiences, even within an area as well. So what have we done in response? So we have a Stop Bullying, Harassment, Racism, Discrimination work stream, which has various different people on that. Staff side, we've got reps from the divisions, we've got reps from the BAME network, from an inclusion team, senior leaders, etc. And the first step we wanted to do was make sure that we were setting the expectations. So, are we really clear on what staff can expect from us as an organisation going forwards? And are we being clear about what we want from staff as well? So we came up with this charter. There are copies of this outside on in the area upstairs if people haven't seen it and would like to take a copy. But what we've done is we've split it into 3 sections. I am aware that it's quite wordy. We had lots of conversations about how wordy it should be, and this was kind of the least we could get it down to without losing some of the impact. But what we've done, so section 1 and section 2 are about what you can expect from the organisation. So keeping you safe, you can expect a safe environment where we treat each other with kindness, dignity and respect. We're valued as individuals for whatever role we play in delivering high quality care. We can speak up and do so without victimisation. We'll be listened to, have our concerns taken seriously, and we'll receive feedback. And we trust each other to deliver on what we've promised. We were aware from some of the comments we were getting, some of people's experiences, that concerns are raised, you hear nothing back. You don't always get that closing the feedback loop. So it's something we want to do better at. People are concerned sometimes that if they speak up, they're going to be victimised, not be able to be promoted in the area or anything like that. So we want to make sure we've made some very clear statements so that people can turn around and say, hang on a minute, your charter says this and you're victimising me, or you've not given me the feedback. So it's a way of actually giving some clarity as to what people can expect. We're also going to make sure we make clear what we mean by bullying, harassment, racism, discrimination. We get some people coming forward saying, I'm being bullied. You look into it in a little bit more detail, and it probably does not fit into the criteria and the definition of bullying. It might be more incivility. Still not acceptable, but we just want to make sure that we're being a bit clearer with those as well. We want to make sure our processes are more transparent. We have resolution of employment concerns policies. We have our disciplinary policies as well. They're all being looked at to make sure that they are much fairer, and that we try and make sure that everyone is kept in the loop a bit more with those as well. Making sure people have support if they experience any of these behaviours. Also publicising the actions we've taken. So again, people have come to us and said, well, I bet nobody gets sacked if they've been bullying someone or not. What we're doing now is we're being a bit more open with theme data to say, within this period, these are some of those actions that happened. So that's gone out in the Trust Bulletin at least twice, and we're trying to do it every quarter at the moment. So hopefully we'll see that as well. Also want to make sure we're empowering staff and ensuring our decisions and policies are based on equality and fairness. And then the third part is about what you can do to help stop bullying, harassment, racism and discrimination. So it's about starting with yourself and how you can change, making an active choice to be anti-racist, anti-discriminatory, and to promote the culture we want within the NUH. And ensuring that everyone feels that they belong as part of Team NUH as well. Make sure we choose kindness over rudeness and hostility, understanding, valuing and respecting what makes us different, speaking up when we see or feel bullying, harassment, racism, discrimination, and using the relevant support mechanisms to raise our concerns safely. Now, we don't want these just to be words. I'm very aware that we have lots of paperwork, lots of documents in this organisation, and it's all well and good, but it's just a set of words and not necessarily brought into action. So we want to make sure we are empowering staff. This is something that is everyone's responsibility. It's not something that we can come to you and say, we want to change the culture, or you must change the culture. It has to be something that everyone in the organisation wants to do as well. And so it's all about trying to empower you to feel that you're able to do that. We talked about defining acceptable behaviours and creating conditions for kindness. We've got lots of work happening at the moment, maybe going in and talking with teams, trying to help improve cultural conversations that are happening. And there's lots of different courses that people can attend as well. And what we have is our links through to some of these courses that the Trust Organ has already, but what we're doing is trying to help guide people to where these are. And make sure we've got education for leaders. So a lot of this work has already been put into the Essential Leadership Day. So I'm hoping some of you may have attended that already. If you haven't, please book on. It is something that we want all members of the organisation to go on. It's been predominantly focused towards band 6 to band 8A at the moment, but anyone can attend. It's not just it is not just for those staff, because we are all leaders. Celebrating the positive, something we're not always very good at as well, is actually when things are done well, we don't always showcase it, so we're going to be doing a bit more of that. And the other thing is bite-sized bits of information or fact sheets. We have been dropping these into the Trust Bulletin at intervals, not quite as regularly as I would have liked at the moment, but each one of those is just covering a little topic, things whether that's what's the difference between incivility and bullying, it might be a topic on about what the different support networks are out there, just to try and help give that information, but in small enough chunks that actually teams could actually just have a conversation about it in a team meeting in the morning, or a huddle, rather than it being well, I've got to go and do a whole 2-hour mandatory training type thing. We have got improved support systems as well, and better monitoring of our data as well. So just to talk about some of the support things that we've got going on. So also out there, we've got this tackling bullying, harassment, racism, discrimination. We've got a flyer and a leaflet. This one particularly contains all the different people that you can go and speak to. It refers to like our BAME ambassadors, mediators, information on the intranet about improving relationships, freedom to speak of guardians, our trade union reps, etc. On our staff networks. So there's lots of different sources of information in there, and then also that's a similar one, but it just gives you a bit more of a summary on the back of to what we've done so far and where we are at right now. So our original focus for the bullying, harassment, racism, discrimination work was on staff versus staff issues, but it came very clear when I started to go out and I talked to people about this, that people would then be asking, well, what about when patients or their relatives sort of get angry or aggressive with us as well? And so, speaking with Cheryl and Sarah, we basically decided that actually we can try and link these bits of work together, so that actually we're giving a bit of a whole message out to the organisation. Because both are unacceptable and shouldn't be tolerated. And what we want to do is make sure that we are providing sort of that managerial support, de-escalation of those initial incidents in the first place. We have DATICs, so obviously we can now see some more of this data. So if you are having incidents between staff on staff or staff versus patients or the public, then we are now capturing what's on the DATICs as well. So that is something that we hadn't looked at previously from the staff versus staff data, but we now have access to that. And our main concern really is that staff really, in the event of an incident, they should be offered support immediately. There are things we often hear and we find that an incident's happened, maybe it's not been dealt with particularly well at that moment in time, and then maybe it's not till a few days later, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, someone goes, oh, are you all right? And it's like, well, actually, that impact of that is quite upsetting for staff, no matter what aspect that might be in. So that takes me on to a staff story. So, Keeba, will you open it up? So, Keba's one of our research nurses, and is very happy to share one of his experience of an incident. So I'll let you explain.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for coming. I'm a little bit upset, but that's normal. My name is Keeba. I work as a clinical research officer for the Rapid Response Team, but I also do some NHSP shifts on the wards on weekends, and bank holidays, and Christmas. First of all, I'll thank my line manager, Jack Squares, and the research team who turned up to this event just for me, because this happens outside my normal contracted hours. I picked NHSP shift Morton Road on the 8th of January 2023. At about 9:30 a.m., I was called to go and help 2 healthcare assistants to give a personal hygiene to a patient next day. I put my PPEs in, my gloves, apron, and everything. Walked through the door to the patient. He turned around and looked at me, in my face and say, "You're not touching me back, monkey." And I said, "Excuse me, what are you talking about?" He said it again, 3 times. At that time, I was a bit confused, angry, upset. I don't know what to do. The other 2 HCAs in the room couldn't stand it anymore. They walked away. I took about 30 seconds to take my aprons off and everything. I followed them up. I went outside to the manager's office. The first thing that comes to my mind is, what do I do now? I can't go home because of 1 person out of 26. I went on Twitter and LinkedIn. I tweeted it, which I thought was going to help me to say what I wanted to say. One of my managers from the research team picked the Twitter up on Sunday morning, which I was very surprised, and she tweeted back saying, "I want to see you Monday morning." I nearly passed out because I thought I'm in trouble. One, I've been wasting the days, nothing is happening at the moment. My line manager, the big one, says he wants to see you Monday morning. Where do I go from here? I went back to the nurse in charge and said, "Do you know what happened with here now?" He said, "Yes, I'm going to go and speak to him." He went in, they filled a day text form in, and they advised me to go home. I said, "No, I'm not going home," because you got another 26 patients leaving here to go because of him. It's not fair on other people. I avoided the day completely. I stayed for myself. But when I finished work, got in my car, it took me 20 minutes to move away because that's when everything hits. I look at myself. I look at myself. I think about my children going to school. If I can go through that as a 44-year-old man, what's happening to my children in school? These thoughts come in my mind. I went home. The first person or child normally comes to me is my daughter. He looked at me and said, "Daddy, are you okay?" I said, "I'm fine." But inside me, I wasn't. So Sunday night was a very, very long night. Monday morning, I called my line manager, Jack. He said to me, "You're not going to see Maria alone, I'll come with you." Before we go, I was expecting somebody from the respiratory team or medicine to come and speak to me that Sunday or Monday. But now it doesn't happen. I had to wait till about 12 p.m. on Monday. I went to find out who the site met me and said, "Do you know what happened on this ward this day?" And also tell me, "Oh, I don't know." I said, "Okay." I told her my story. And she said, "I'm going to ring you later on." Nothing happened that day. Tuesday, nothing happens. But Monday, when I went to see our head of research, Maria Kafari, she said, "Call the police." And in my head, I was like, "No, I'm not in more problem than I thought." We rang the police. The lady on the phone, when we mentioned the patient's name, the first thing she said was, "Oh, okay. Oh, that's telling me something. They know this patient already." Somebody was going to ring me back. Nobody did. They passed my case to a gentleman who said he's going on holiday for a week. When he comes back, he will deal with it. So I said, "Okay, he's going on holiday. There's nobody else in the police station who can take over because it's a black man against dress." That's what I felt. A week after that, somebody else from the station rang me saying, "How is it? How are you feeling now?" I said, "Well, I don't know how to answer that question because since this happened, you've not seen me. You don't know how I'm going through. I'm going through hell every single day. If not for the support of my research team, it would be a completely different story. Because I have to go and see people outside to talk about my problem." Going forward, 72 hours, 48 hours after that, I started getting emails from few people from the medicine team coming to talk to me about it. But one thing that stood out, I said to them, if it was me to a patient, I would have lost my job that Sunday morning. They're not going to wait till Monday or Tuesday. I'll be sacked. So what is the difference between that person and me being, basically abused again, talking like that? So, few people came to talk to me. I thought that was the end of the story. What really upset me is the first 24, 48 hours, apart from my research team, and I put my hands up for them because this is outside research. Nobody from medicine's team cares what's going on, what happened to me. That could have been yourself. It's a possibility. But no. So the research team stood to me. They asked me to have some time off. I said, no, it's not fair on your team because the incident happened outside my normal contracted hours. Why should I be off when it doesn't happen within that time? I stay on, a lot of support around it. The police rang me, I think 2 weeks after that, wanting to come to my house. And I said to him very clearly, no, this happens at work. If you come into my house now, I live on a street where 80% or 90% is all white. What would other people think seeing the police guy in my house? What's happening? Is he the problem? Is he criminal? Is he dealing drugs? All sorts of things will be said. I said, no. If you want to come to see me, come to work. No. Whoa, hold my hold. Nobody turned up. The patient stays in hospital for about 2 weeks. And all I asked for was not much. That somebody go to him and tell him that he offended somebody. All I asked for. I was not going to press charges. Nothing. All I want him to know is what he's done is wrong. But it took NUH, medicine's team, a week plus to speak to that patient about what he's done. But going back again, if that was me, I would lose my job on that very Sunday. What brought me here today to share my story. And I think each and every one of us here realize that sometimes when we hear stories on TVs or things like that, it's different from what it happens to you. I've never, ever been, about 16 years here now, faced a situation like this, apart from the 8th of January, which I will never, ever forget. Thankfully, got a great team. I will keep saying this. But trust at the beginning failed me, completely failed me. I had a few emails from like yourself and other people. But I thought, and I keep saying this, the first 24, 48 hours is very important. If you start by a problem, whether it's weekend or bank holiday, there should be a plan for someone somewhere to speak to them. And I haven't got that support from the medicine team. And the police, I'm not going to talk about that. That's a story for another day. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. So, as you can see, this is a real impact of what we're talking about today. This is about, actually, we really need to make sure that in our own areas, we are supporting each other. We are supporting our staff. We are having this no tolerance view to our patients, and also making sure that we make sure we support our staff. Now, when I met with Keeba before this today, he made a very, very clear point. He happens to be a substantive member of staff within research, but was doing an NHSP shift. If this had just been an NHSP member of staff, would they have been supported at all? Probably not. So this is something we need to think about, even for those staff who come in and support us as well. So yeah. Are there any questions anyone would like to ask? Just sum up a little bit as well. So, although a lot of what I've spoken about, like I say, is more about staff on staff, there are these connections with the aggression, violence and harassment work as well. And as I said, really, we cannot always control what other people do. We can only control ourselves. And so what we need to do is be holding a mirror up to ourselves, our interactions, the way we respond to things. So looking at our work relationships, the way we role model our leadership styles, and about being an active bystander. Now, being an active bystander, that is someone who, sometimes people will stand and will witness things, but we won't actually do something about it. And in some ways, by not helping and not doing something about it, we're being complicit in that act. So, to give examples, from a racism point of view, people will turn around and say, "Oh, I'm not racist." But actually, if you don't stand up and challenge it when you do see racism, you're being complicit. So what we talk about being an active bystander is actually standing up for your colleagues and making sure that they are supported. So it's also about then considering how you create conditions for kindness as well. So I talked about a pledge. Now, what we've been doing since we launched the charter is asking people to make a bit of a pledge. It's a very private thing for yourself, but it's about actually what do you want to take away, and what will you do to help this cause and to help promote. Now, we have got little cards, so you're more than welcome to take away. Again, there's some outside as well, you're more than welcome. But also, there is a QR link here, which you're more than welcome to scan. There's a few questions on there about what you think about the charter, but then also you can put in a pledge as well. Hoping we can maybe circulate all of this afterwards. Yeah. Choose kindness, listen with curiosity, value each other. 3 simple things which will make a massive difference for all of our colleagues. And then if you want more information and support, so we have an intranet page. It's called Safe and Inclusive. So the Safe and Inclusive links you through to kindness, civility and respect. There's a whole toolkit there which we used, the bullying, harassment, racism, discrimination work. And then there's another bit of work which is about to start, which is looking at just and restorative culture. And that's how we change our mindset for when we're dealing with incidents, making sure that we do give people that proper support. We've got a Twitter or X, anyway, to say, and then there's my contact details there if anyone wants to get in touch as well. So yeah, thank you. Any other questions, any thoughts?
Other thoughts. It's not uncommon to walk around this hospital and hear comments like, "You're only a porter," or "You're only a cleaner." This is a daily occurrence that I hear just walking around, just listening to conversations between, and I'm not going to isolate any particular staff group, but right from the bottom all the way up to the top. And you need to start looking at that level before you try and move to the greater levels. I agree, because there's no respect for the people that are working on the ground floor.
Yeah, absolutely. So my view on that is that obviously this hospital cannot work without every person who's here. This is, we are all part of a big cog, or a big machine. We're all cogs of a big machine, and actually, so things like that is not acceptable to be saying. So that if you start hearing people saying that, please try and change that. Yeah.
Thank you. I just want to say, I think a little more in terms of disseminating information, which just would be ideal, because had I not come to this event today, I would not have been aware about what is happening in the trust, about the being set that is here and everything that is put in place to handle situations like that. And as Anita said, if you're not in an environment where you're exposed to it, for example, you go to another place like he did to work a shift, you would just go back feeling really empty if you were exposed. There is not enough education being done about it, and I think there should be persons providing that information.
Absolutely. I completely agree. I think so. Part of the reason for me coming today is to help share some of this information as well. There have been lots of other divisional sort of timeout days and things like that, which I've gone and presented at. But I am aware, I am going around different areas, I've talked to people, and people are still not aware, even though we're now technically 6 months down the line since it came out. So we're really keen to get people to disseminate this. So please do go away, take a copy of the charter with you, get it put up in your areas, talk to people about it, encourage people to go and look on there. But yes, we are very aware. So we're trying to get it out there. And in some ways, we feel like we've done more for this in terms of getting this out there than many other things. So it just shows if this hasn't got out there, the amount of effort that has been put in, what else do people not not see as well. So yeah, thank you. Any other questions? No? Thank you very much.